Have you ever watched your mother slap you across the face in front of 150 guests at your sister's wedding? No? So let me tell you what that looks like. The room goes completely silent. Your earring flies off your ear and bounces across the marble floor. Everyone watches. Judges, lawyers, Boston's finest, all of them staring at you. And your mother is still holding the microphone. That was me. March 15th, de Fairmont Hotel, and they expected me to cry, to apologize, to sign the papers she had waiting. Instead, I bent down, I picked up my earring, I walked out, and I made one phone call. 60 minutes later, a woman walked through those doors with a lawyer and a briefcase. When my mother saw who it was, she started screaming. Because the woman she had spent 3 years calling confused and senile had just arrived with proof of everything she had been hiding. My name is Paige. I am 34 years old, and this is the story of how my grandmother saved me without ever leaving her nursing home. Let me take you back 3 years, because this story does not start at a wedding. It starts with a phone call on a Tuesday evening in March 2021. I was in my apartment, eating leftover pasta and reviewing a client's floor plan, when my grandmother's name lit up my phone. Her name was Eleanor. She had been a professor at Harvard Law School for 31 years. She did not waste words. So when she told me she was leaving me her penthouse apartment in the Seaport District, worth $2.1 million, I put down my fork and listened. "Why me?" I asked. "Because you're the only one who visits," she said. "Every Sunday for 10 years, Paige. You bring me tulips because you remember they're my favorite. You sit with me when I have nothing interesting to say." I felt tears prick my eyes. "The paperwork will be finalized next month," she said. "My attorney, Marcus Webb, is handling everything. He has been with me for 23 years. She paused. "Your mother will not be pleased." That was an understatement of the decade. The news reached my family within weeks. By April, my mother Victoria had organized what she called a family discussion at her home in Beacon Hill. I walked into the living room and saw how they had arranged themselves. My father, Richard, in his leather armchair, my mother on the sofa, my sister Madison perched on the couch arm like she was posing for a photograph. They looked like a tribunal. "Paige," my mother said, her voice was honey over broken glass, "we need to talk about your grandmother's condition." "Her condition?" I said. "She seems fine to me." "She is clearly not thinking straight." Victoria crossed her legs. "Leaving a $2 million property to one grandchild while excluding everyone else. That is not rational behavior." "She's not excluding anyone." I said it slowly. "She's giving me something she wants me to have. That is her right." Madison let out a small theatrical sob. "I've always loved Grandma. I just don't have time to visit like you do. I have a career. I have a life." "You have a trust fund and a fiancé with a yacht," I thought, but I did not say it. My father spoke for the first time. "The fair thing would be to decline the inheritance, or sell the property and split the proceeds equally among family members." I stared at him. Richard Harrison, who had missed my college graduation for a golf tournament, who had not asked me a single question about my life in years. "I'm not declining anything," I said, "and I'm not selling anything. Grandma made this decision because she wanted to. If you have a problem with it, talk to her." The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. "Then I hope you're prepared," Victoria said, "for the consequences of being so selfish." The consequences came immediately. By summer, I had been removed from the family text chain. I learned about Madison's engagement party through an Instagram post, a photo of her surrounded by cousins, champagne glasses raised. No one had told me, no one had invited me. When I asked my mother about it, she said, "We assumed you wouldn't want to come. You've been so busy with your little decorating business." My little decorating business was a licensed interior design studio with 12 active clients and revenue that had doubled in the past year. But to Victoria Harrison, anything that wasn't a law degree or a wealthy husband was just a hobby. Then came the stories. Paige manipulated my mother, I overheard her tell a neighbor, visited her constantly, turned her against the family. You know how vulnerable elderly people can be. She painted me as a predator, a schemer, the ungrateful daughter who had exploited a confused old woman for profit. And through all of it, I stayed quiet. I thought if I kept my head down, the storm would pass. I did not understand yet that my silence was exactly what she was counting on. There was one thing I also did not understand: why Eleanor had moved to Brookhaven Senior Living in late 2021, a facility in Wellesley that costs $12,000 a month. She told me she wanted peace and quiet. She told me she was tired of the drama. But sometimes when I visited on Sundays, I caught something in her eyes, a flicker of something that looked almost like fear. "Grandma," I asked once, "did something happen between you and Mom?" She looked out at the manicured gardens for a long moment. "Some things are better left alone," she finally said, "at least for now." I let it go. I should not have. 3 years would pass before I understood what she was hiding and why. December 2023. 3 months before the wedding. I was reviewing fabric samples when the mail arrived. Among the invoices was an envelope of heavy cream cardstock, my name written in calligraphy. Inside was an invitation: Madison's wedding, March 15th, 2024, the Fairmont Hotel. Black tie. For a full minute, I stared at it. After 2 years of being treated like a ghost, no holidays, no birthdays, no texts, they were inviting me to the wedding. My phone rang that same evening. Victoria. Her voice was warm, almost affectionate. "Did you receive Madison's invitation?" I did. "Wonderful. This wedding is such a beautiful opportunity for our family to heal, to move forward." She paused meaningfully, "to show everyone that we are united." I waited. "I've been thinking," she continued, and there it was, the real reason for the call. This would be the perfect time to revisit our conversation about the penthouse. Madison and Tyler will need a place to live after the honeymoon. I closed my eyes. The invitation was not an olive branch. It was bait. "Mom," I said, "the penthouse is mine. Grandma left it to me. That has not changed." "Nothing has to change, sweetheart. You could simply transfer the property as a wedding gift. Think of how generous that would look." The audacity took my breath away. Using my grandmother, the woman who had specifically chosen to give me that apartment, as an argument for why I should give it away. "I'm not transferring anything." The warmth evaporated instantly. "Madison deserves a proper start," Victoria said. "She is marrying into the Caldwell family. Tyler's father is a managing partner at one of Boston's most prestigious firms. They will be entertaining. They need a home that reflects their status. Then Tyler's father can buy them one." Silence. When Victoria spoke again, her voice was ice. "I expect you to make the right choice before the wedding." She hung up. I sat in my studio as the winter sun set across my drafting table. I understood exactly what was at stake. If I went to that wedding and refused in front of everyone Victoria had spent decades cultivating, she would destroy me. My reputation, my business, my future client referrals, all of which came from word of mouth in exactly those circles. But if I did not go, that would be its own surrender. I confirmed I would be there. 1 week before the wedding, my phone rang at 7 in the morning. "Eleanor." "Sweetheart," she said, her voice carrying an urgency I had rarely heard. "I need you to listen carefully." "I'm listening." "If something happens at that wedding, and I believe something will, I want you to call Marcus Webb immediately." She gave me the number. "Can you write that down?" I grabbed a pen. "Grandma, what are you talking about? What's going to happen?" "Your mother thinks I don't know what she's planning. She forgets I was practicing law before she was born." Eleanor's voice was steady, but I heard the steel beneath it. "I've prepared everything. Marcus has the documents. If you need them, they are ready." "What documents?" "Just remember the number." She paused. "And remember that I love you, whatever happens." She hung up before I could ask anything more. I saved Marcus Webb's number in my phone. I did not know why my hands were shaking. I would not understand until I walked through the doors of the Fairmont Hotel and saw what was waiting for me. March 15th. The Fairmont Hotel rose above Copley Square like a monument to old money. The ballroom was breathtaking. White orchids cascaded from crystal chandeliers. A 12-piece jazz ensemble played in the corner. Waiters in black ties circulated with champagne and canapes. 150 guests. I counted the chairs during cocktail hour. Lawyers, doctors, investment bankers, old Boston families whose names appeared on hospital wings and university buildings. Victoria's audience, her witnesses. I wore a navy blue dress, elegant but not attention-seeking. I had debated for hours. Anything too expensive would be called showing off. Anything too simple would embarrass the family. In the end, I chose something that felt like me. Madison found me near the ice sculpture 10 minutes after I arrived. She hugged me, arms circling but not quite touching, the way you hug a stranger at a networking event. "Did you bring the paperwork?" she asked. Her smile was camera-ready. I blinked. "What paperwork?" "Mom said you'd have the transfer documents ready for the penthouse, our wedding gift." So they had already decided. The invitation, the phone call, the reconciliation theater, all of it was a prelude to this moment. "Madison, there are no transfer documents." "What do you mean?" "The penthouse is mine. It is not a gift. It is not up for discussion." Her smile flickered. "But Mom said—" "I don't know what Mom told you." I kept my voice low. "But I am not signing anything. Not today. Not ever." Madison's jaw tightened. "Tyler and I were planning to move in after the honeymoon. We already told the realtor we wouldn't need the condo in Back Bay. We already told everyone." "You told everyone about an apartment that does not belong to you." "It should belong to us." Her voice rose. "You don't even need it. You live in that little place. You don't entertain. You don't have anyone to impress. What is the point of you having a $2 million penthouse?" "The point is that Grandma wanted me to have it, and her wishes matter more than your real estate plans." Madison leaned close. Her bridal perfume was overwhelming. "Mom is going to handle this," she whispered, "and when she does, don't say I didn't warn you." She swept away toward her bridesmaids. I moved toward the bar, but before I could order, a woman in a cream suit stepped into my path. Patricia Holloway, wife of a federal judge, Victoria's tennis partners. "You're Paige, aren't you?" Her smile did not reach her eyes. "Victoria's mentioned you." "I bet she has. I heard you're holding on to some property for your grandmother. Very responsible. Will you be selling it soon?" There it was, the narrative Victoria had been spinning. I was not the heir. I was the temporary caretaker until the assets could be distributed properly. "Actually," I said, "I live there." Patricia's eyebrows rose. She excused herself quickly. I stood alone in that sea of silk and judgment. Victoria had been preparing this battlefield for years, and tonight she intended to collect. I slipped out to the balcony. The March air was cold, but after the suffocating warmth of the ballroom, I welcomed it. My phone buzzed. Eleanor. "Tell me what's happening," she said. "How do you know something is happening?" "Because I know my daughter." A pause. "She's been making calls for weeks, gathering people, building her case. She thinks I don't know because I'm locked away in my nursing home." The disdain in her voice was palpable. "She forgets I have friends who actually like me." I almost laughed. Almost. "Paige, do you remember the number?" "I have it saved." "Good. If anything happens, call him immediately. He's expecting you. He has everything ready. Grandma, what is everything? What are you not telling me? Silence stretched across the line. 6 months ago, Eleanor said, your friend Daniel came to visit me. Daniel Reeves. We had been friends since university. He was an investigative reporter at the Boston Globe now. He had mentioned he was looking into irregular real estate transactions in the area. I had not connected it to anything specific. He found something, Eleanor said. A property sale in 2020, a house in Cape Cod that belonged to me. A house I never sold. My breath caught. Your mother sold it. Eleanor's voice was steady. For $875,000. She forged my signature on the documents. I gripped the railing. I didn't want to believe it, so I hired experts. Forensic Document Services in Boston. They analyzed the signatures against authentic samples of my handwriting. The probability of forgery was 98.7%. 98.7%. That was not doubt. That was certainty. Why didn't you go to the police? Because she's my daughter. Eleanor's voice cracked slightly before she studied it. Because I hoped there might be some explanation, some reason that isn't what it looks like. But we both knew there wasn't. That's why you moved to Brookhaven, I said. Not because you wanted peace and quiet, because you couldn't trust her. I couldn't trust her, and I couldn't prove anything without destroying everything, so I removed myself. I protected what I could protect, the penthouse, my remaining assets, and I waited. For what? For Victoria to make a mistake. Eleanor's voice hardened. Tonight might be that mistake. If she pushes you beyond what you can bear, call Marcus. Tell him the documents are needed. He'll know what to do. A pause. And Paige, when Marcus calls me, I will be there within the hour. I've been waiting 3 years for this, darling. I am not going to miss it. She hung up.
I want to pause here for a second, because I know some of you watching this have been in situations like mine, surrounded by people who are supposed to love you, but instead they make you feel small, like your needs don't matter, like what you have earned belongs to everyone but you. If that's you right now, drop a comment below. Tell me where you are in your story. And subscribe, because what happens next in that ballroom is the part I have been building toward for 3 years. You do not want to miss it. 7:30 p.m. Dinner had been served and cleared. The toasts had been made. The clink of metal against crystal cut through the room. Victoria stood at the head table, champagne flute in one hand, microphone in the other. Her Valentino gown glittered under the chandeliers. If I could have everyone's attention, she said, I'd like to take a moment for something very special. I felt the first prickle of warning. As many of you know, the Harrison family believes in taking care of each other. We support each other. We make sacrifices for each other. Her eyes swept the room, landing briefly on me. Tonight, in the spirit of that love, I'd like to invite my eldest daughter, Paige, to join me up here. 150 pairs of eyes turned toward my table. I did not move. Paige, sweetheart. Victoria's voice carried gentle encouragement that was pure performance. Come on up, honey. Don't be shy. What choice did I have? If I refused, I would be the difficult one, the ungrateful one, the sister who ruined the wedding. I stood. My legs felt like they belonged to someone else. I walked through the maze of tables, past the whispered comments and curious stares, up to the raised platform where my mother waited. There she is. Victoria put an arm around my shoulders. For the audience, it looked like affection. For me, it was a grip. Now, everyone, Paige has been holding something very precious. Our mother left her a beautiful penthouse in the Seaport District, $2.1 million in value, quite an inheritance. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Paige has been keeping it safe, waiting for just the right moment to share it with the family. And what better moment than this? Madison's wedding day. She produced a folder. Transfer of deed, quick claim agreement. My name already typed at the signature lines. All Paige needs to do is sign. The room actually applauded. They applauded. "Mom," my voice was quiet, "I'm not signing this." Victoria's smile did not waver. "Don't be nervous, sweetheart. It's just paperwork." "It's not just paperwork. It's the apartment Grandma Eleanor left to me, not to Madison, not to the family, to me." The applause died. The silence that replaced it was absolute. "Paige," Victoria's grip on my shoulder tightened. Her voice dropped, but the microphone still carried it. "Let's not make this difficult." "I'm not making it anything. I'm telling you no." Madison appeared at the edge of the platform, her face a mask of wounded innocence. "Paige, you're really going to do this on my wedding day?" "Madison, I did not ask to be called up here." "We knew you'd be selfish." Madison's voice rose. "We knew you'd choose that apartment over your own family." Tyler's father coughed uncomfortably. A waiter near the kitchen doors stood frozen, tray suspended in the air. Then Victoria's composure cracked. Her face reddened, her voice rose.
"You ungrateful child." The microphone amplified every syllable. "After everything we have done for you, after we raised you, educated you, supported your little business, you cannot do this one thing for your sister?" "You didn't support my business." I kept my voice level. "You have never once been to my studio, and you didn't raise me. Grandma did, every summer while you were at conferences and galas and anywhere that was not home." Gasps scattered through the audience. I had said too much, I knew it, but I could not stop. "The penthouse is mine because Grandma wanted me to have it, because I was there, because I cared, and no amount of public humiliation is going to change that." Victoria's hand moved so fast I did not see it coming. The slap connected with my left cheek hard enough to snap my head sideways. My silver earring, the one that Eleanor had given me for my 30th birthday, flew off my ear and bounced across the marble floor with a sound like a small bell. The room went completely silent. I stood perfectly still. My cheek burned, my vision blurred. What I did was breathe. I bent down. I picked up the earring. It was slightly bent but not broken. I straightened it carefully and put it back on my ear. Then I looked at my mother. "That's the last time you touch me," I said. My voice did not shake. I was proud of that. I turned. I walked off the platform, through the tables, past the whispers and the stares and the jazz band that had stopped playing mid-note, out the double doors of the ballroom, into the lobby. I did not run. I did not cry. I found a quiet bench near the concierge desk, pulled out my phone, dialed the number I had saved a week ago. It rang once. Marcus Webb's office. "This is Paige Harrison." My voice was calm. "Please tell my grandmother that the documents are needed." "Understood, Miss Harrison. She will be there within the hour." I held up. I touched my stinging cheek. And I waited. 1 hour. That was all I needed. 8:45 p.m., the main doors of the Fairmont opened, and my grandmother walked in. Eleanor Harrison was 78 years old. She moved with a cane now, but everything else about her radiated the same presence that had made her one of the most respected professors at Harvard Law for 3 decades. She wore a gray cashmere coat over a simple black dress. Her silver hair was pinned back elegantly. Beside her walked Marcus Webb, mid-40s, wire-rimmed glasses, charcoal suit, carrying a leather briefcase that looked like it contained the weight of the world. "Grandma," I stood up. For a moment, my composure cracked. She crossed the lobby and took my face in her hands, examining my cheek with eyes that missed nothing. "She hit you." "Yes." Eleanor's jaw tightened.
Then she kissed my forehead gently, the way she had when I was a child and had fallen off my bicycle. "Then let's finish this," she said. We walked into the ballroom together. The wedding was in chaos, clusters of guests huddled in conversation. Madison was crying. Tyler and his parents hovered nearby, looking mortified. Victoria stood near the head table, gesturing emphatically at Richard, who seemed to be trying to calm her down. No one noticed us at first. Then someone gasped, then someone else, and then Victoria turned and saw her mother walking toward her across the marble floor. "Mom," the word came out strangled. Victoria's face went white. How are you?" "I'm here for my granddaughter," Eleanor said. Her voice carried across the suddenly silent room. I wasn't invited, of course, but I decided to come anyway. "What is this?" Victoria's voice rose. "What are you doing here?" "I'm doing what I should have done 3 years ago." Eleanor stopped, 10 feet from her daughter, close enough for everyone to hear. "I'm telling the truth." She turned to face the assembled guests, 150 people, many of them lawyers and judges who understood exactly what was about to happen. "My name is Eleanor Harrison. I was a professor of law at Harvard for 31 years. I am of sound mind, and I am here to confirm that the penthouse at 150 Seaport Boulevard, the property my daughter has been publicly demanding my granddaughter surrender, was left to Paige Harrison in my will dated June 14, 2019. That will is legal, valid, and enforceable. There are no other claims to that property." Marcus Webb opened his briefcase. He withdrew the first document.
This is a certified copy of Mrs. Harrison's will, notarized and filed with the Suffolk County Probate Court. I have been her attorney for 23 years and can attest to its authenticity. Victoria's face contorted. "This is absurd. Mother, you're confused. You don't understand what you're saying." "I understand perfectly." Eleanor's voice was ice. "What you don't understand is that I have been watching you for 3 years." Marcus withdrew a second set of documents. "These are transaction records for a property in Cape Cod, a property that was deeded in my name until September 12, 2020, when it was sold for $875,000. The room went completely silent. I could hear the ice melting in abandoned champagne buckets. "I did not sell that property," Eleanor continued. "I could not have sold that property. I was in Massachusetts General Hospital for 6 weeks that fall, recovering from a broken hip. I signed nothing. I authorized nothing." Victoria's mouth opened and closed. No sound came out. Marcus produced a third document. "This is a forensic analysis report from Forensic Document Services, a certified firm specializing in handwriting analysis. They examined the signature on the Cape Cod sale documents against authentic samples of Mrs. Harrison's handwriting." He turned to the room. Their conclusion: the signature is inconsistent with Mrs. Harrison's authentic hand. Probability of forgery, 98.7%. Murmurs erupted through the ballroom. I saw Tyler's father exchange a significant look with another attorney near the bar. "You're lying," Victoria's voice cracked. "This is fabricated. You're senile, Mother. You don't know what you're talking about." "I'm sharp enough to hire experts. I'm sharp enough to preserve evidence, and I'm sharp enough to have forwarded this entire file to the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office last week." The color drained completely from Victoria's face. "Forgery and fraud, Victoria. Up to 5 years in prison under Massachusetts law." Eleanor's voice was almost gentle now. the same tone she had once used to explain complex legal concepts to first-year students. I didn't want to believe my own daughter could do this. I gave you 3 years to confess, to make it right. But instead, you spent those years slandering my granddaughter, calling her a manipulator, calling me senile, trying to steal her inheritance the same way you stole my property. Victoria spun to Richard. Richard, say something. Stop this. Richard Harrison, who had stood silently through everything, took 1 step backward. I didn't know, he said. His voice was flat. I didn't know about the Cape Cod house. You signed the transfer, Victoria shrieked. You were there. I signed what you told me to sign. I didn't know it was forged. The room watched in horrified fascination as 35 years of marriage disintegrated in real time. Madison finally spoke, her voice small and broken. Mom, what is Grandma talking about? Victoria did not answer. She could not answer. She stood in the center of her own carefully constructed stage, her perfect wedding, her perfect audience, and everything was falling apart. Eleanor turned to me. Her eyes were tired, sad, but resolute. Paige, she said, I'm sorry you had to find out this way. I'm sorry I waited so long. It's okay, Grandma, I took her hand. I understand. She squeezed my fingers. Then she looked at Victoria one last time. You lost me the day I discovered what you'd done. Tonight, everyone else just got to see the truth. She paused. I hope someday you find it in yourself to take responsibility, but I won't hold my breath. She turned toward the exit. I walked beside her. Behind us, I heard Victoria start screaming, incoherent denials, accusations, demands that someone do something. I heard Tyler's parents say something sharp and final. I heard the crowd erupt into roaring gossip. I did not look back, not once.
I need to pause here for a second. When I walked out of that ballroom with my grandmother, I was not thinking about revenge. I was thinking about how much time we had lost and how grateful I was that we still had some left. If you have ever had someone in your life who believed in you when no one else did, drop their name in the comments right now. They deserve to be celebrated. And if you want to hear how all of this played out, subscribe, because the aftermath is the part that surprised me most. The fallout was swift. 2 weeks after the wedding, Victoria was summoned to the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office for questioning. The interview lasted 4 hours. When she emerged, she looked 10 years older. Her attorney withdrew from the case within days, citing conflict of interest. My father moved to a hotel on March 28th, the Ritz-Carlton, because even in crisis, Richard Harrison maintained appearances. He released a statement through a family friend claiming he had no prior knowledge of any improper transactions. Whether anyone believed him was another matter entirely. Madison and Tyler postponed their honeymoon indefinitely. On April 3rd, Victoria received an email from the charity organization whose annual gala she had co-chaired for 17 years. Subject line, "Your invitation status has been updated." She was disinvited. The Boston Bar Association opened an ethics inquiry. 2 attorneys who had been at the wedding filed formal complaints. On April 10th, a small item appeared in the Boston Globe's Legal Beat column. Boston area attorney under investigation for alleged document fraud in 2020 real estate transaction. The Suffolk County DA's office confirmed the investigation is active. No name, but in Boston's legal community, no name was needed. Everyone knew within hours. I received 11 text messages that week from people I had not heard from in years. The one that mattered most came from a woman named Jennifer, a family friend who had been at the wedding. She sent a formal email 3 days after. I want to begin by apologizing properly, she wrote. At the wedding, I made assumptions based on things Victoria had told me over the years. Watching what actually happened, watching how you handled yourself with such dignity under impossible circumstances, made me ashamed of my own credulity. I don't expect forgiveness, but I would like to offer something concrete.
Our firm is renovating our conference floor, and we are looking for an interior designer who understands professionalism, discretion, and good taste. Budget $82,000. If you're interested, please call me. I sat with that email for 3 days. Part of me wanted to reject it. Anything from Victoria's circle felt contaminated. But Jennifer was not Victoria. She was someone who had been lied to, who was now trying to make amends. I took the meeting. The contract was the largest I had ever landed. By May, I had received 2 more project inquiries from attorneys who had been at the wedding. Word was spreading, not just about Victoria's downfall, about my work, about the woman who had stood her ground. June 2024, 3 months after the wedding. I am sitting on the balcony of my penthouse, watching the sun set over Boston Harbor. The sky is streaked with orange and pink, and the water reflects it all like scattered jewels. Eleanor is here. She comes every Sunday now. I pick her up from Brookhaven in the morning, and we spend the day together. Today, we are talking about my father. He called me, I tell her. He wanted to explain his side. Do you believe him? She asks. I think about it. I believe he didn't ask questions, I finally say. I believe he chose not to know. For 35 years, he chose not to know about a lot of things. Eleanor nods slowly. And what did you tell him? I told him I needed time, that if he wanted a relationship with me, he would have to earn it, not by apologizing, by showing up consistently over time. She reaches over and squeezes my hand. That's a healthy boundary, sweetheart. We sit in comfortable silence. The sunset deepens. I started therapy in April. My therapist's name is Dr. Caroline. She specializes in family systems. Every Tuesday at 4, I sit in her office and talk about things I spent 34 years avoiding. It is hard. Some weeks it is exhausting, but it is the most important thing I have ever done for myself. There is something else, too. His name is Ben. He's an architect I met at a design conference in May. He has kind eyes and a terrible sense of direction, and absolutely no idea who the Harrisons of Beacon Hill are. He likes me, for my work, my laugh, my habit of talking to plants. It is new. It is slow, and it is the first time I have let someone in without worrying about what they might think of my family. Eleanor finishes her wine, sets the glass down. You know, she says, I've been thinking about what I want my legacy to be. You've already given me one, I say, gesturing at the penthouse around us. Not the property, she shakes her head. The other thing, the thing that matters. I wait. I spent too many years keeping the peace, staying quiet to avoid conflict, letting your mother become who she became because confronting her was too painful. She looks at me steadily. I don't want that for you. I want you to speak the truth even when it is hard. I want you to protect yourself even when it feels selfish. I want you to know that being kind does not mean being silent. I feel tears prick my eyes. I'll remember. Good, she pats my hand. Now what's for dinner? All this emotion is making me hungry. I laugh. The sound fills the evening air. This is my life now. A penthouse that is really mine, a grandmother who loves me, a business that is growing, boundaries that are firm, a future I am building myself, one honest choice at a time. If you are watching this and you are in a family that expects you to sacrifice yourself for their comfort, hear this. You are allowed to say no. You are allowed to want more. Being kind to yourself is not the opposite of being kind to others. It is the foundation. Because love without respect is not love. It is just habit. And you deserve both. Thank you for staying until the end. Drop a comment and tell me your story. I want to hear it. And subscribe. I am here every week with a new story. Same ending every time. She stayed calm, she stayed quiet, then she won.